We do continue on with Morning at NTV, Tuesday, the 10th of March, 2026. I am Priscilla Regina Naloga. Now, it's at this opportune time that we start off with the discussions of the day, looking at governance and development of our different communities. In this particular conversation, we're going to be focusing on our cities. And as we do focus on that, we want to hear of the voices of our leaders, because in the past 10 days, we've had quite a number of build-up in terms of complaints, especially as far as infrastructure maintenance is concerned, as far as Kampala and its management is concerned, and then as well as far as development is concerned, and the issues that continue to affect development, such as climate change. It is a rainy season, and so there's that issue. You do have so many other issues really that have cropped up, and hopefully each one of those we're going to shine a light of questioning and answering to it with my pundits as we pick up these conversations. But joining me from, we do have a media briefing that we want to get from the Ministry of ICT and Information regarding the improvement of infrastructure and development, and our focal point is going to be on Kampala. But Kampala, it becomes a case study, because if Kampala sneezes, the rest of the cities can easily catch a flu. We can pick a leaf on when KCCA took to the trade order directive and said street vendors off the streets. In no little time did you have that message picked up in Mbarara as well as Mbale. So last week, Mbale did also take to the ground to actually actualize that directive. Mbarara is doing that this very same week, and we expect to see other cities also catching up with that. Same goes for the other initiatives and other issues that are affecting us in the heart of the city. They can be addressed here, and if they are given solution here, then that solution can easily be carried and rearranged to fit into the needs of the other cities. So joining me is Juma Kiria, who's going to be giving us an expose, having a sit down with the State Minister for National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga, who's going to be letting us know from the voice of a leader and where government stands in terms of viewing some of these things as we go on with the conversation. But by and large, we get to look at Kampala as one of the fastest growing cities in East Africa, a city that sits on the center of Uganda's politics, economics, and social life, but then a city that sits on many hills. The Greater Kampala metropolitan area now is hosting more than 4 million Ugandans, and projected to suggest that numbers could actually rise significantly in the coming decades as urbanization does accelerate across the country. So as the city is growing, so is the pressure on infrastructure. Kampala's road network alone is spanning more than 2,000 kilometers, yet only a portion is paved according to accommodating the rising traffic volumes. We do have the congestion that has also become a daily nightmare and a reality for thousands of commuters, affecting productivity and also economic efficiency. At the same time, we do have the urban flooding that is also becoming a pressure, a continuous pressure, particularly in the low-lying areas of Bwaise, Nachivubo. You do have Kawempe, you do have Zana on AtNTV Road, where drainage systems are often overwhelmed during a heavy rainy season. Now, the Metropolitan Center had told us the rains will start in April, but God surprised us and the rains started in March. So you get to see how it is critical that we must put into consideration environmental pressures that are also mounting, and looking at how, as a city, we can handle wasteland encroachment, we can manage pollution, we can manage the rapid informal settlement growth, and manage the development of our country and also our capital city. All this comes down to physical planning and what is the plan of government, especially in terms of investment. My colleague Juma Kiri is joining me for this conversation as he's having a sit down with the State Minister for National Guidance. And one of the things that we always hear is that the plans are there. KCCA has a drainage master plan and implementation plan. KCCA has a plan, a development plan. KCCA has a smart city plan. But it all comes down to implementation and funding of that implementation and bridging those in order to see a quicker result that is desired by all the Uganda. Juma, good morning to you.
Good morning, Priscilla. Welcome our viewers to Morning at NTV. This morning, we are going to be talking to the State Minister of National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga. Like you put it, issues of Kampala. Government has invested a sizable amount of money to work on several roads. but we still experience issues of flooding. The other day, traders downtown were grappling with these issues. Honorable, for starters, uh, first of all, we want to appreciate you for joining us on this show this morning. But our viewers would want to know what is government is planning trying to solve these issues, especially regarding infrastructure in Kampala.
The government is investing a lot in infrastructure in Kampala. You have seen the road network now. Actually, Kampala, I can say now, is more or less a construction site. Roads are being rehabilitated. But this time, the component of drainage is also being worked on seriously. In the past, rehabilitation of roads was not including construction of widening, expanding, and construction of drainage. But this time, drainage is part of the rehabilitation program. And I think now Kampala is trying to follow the 40-year drainage master plan. And I strongly believe with more money and with the rehabilitation of roads and drainage, the issue of floods will be solved.
Honorable, we've seen specifically traders downtown. Whenever it rains, whenever there's some kind of heavy downpour, people lose their merchandise. What is government doing to try and address this issue? And we've seen people's shops flooding. I know you've talked about addressing this issue in the long term. What is the plan in the short term?
It's very unfortunate that people are losing merchandise, losing business whenever it rains and it floods. But just as I've told you, the most important thing right now, what can mitigate that is rehabilitation of drainage, both the primary and secondary drainage. And this can be done by expanding the drainage channels, and also working on garbage waste management, because most of these drains are clogged, and when it rains, then there are floods. It's also important that we should look at the restoration of wetlands, mainly the Ruviji wetland, the Nachivubo, and the Chinawataka, because those would be probably holding grounds of water whenever it rains, because most of those wetlands act as basins, as dams, so that whenever it floods, it can be, the water can be cleared within the shortest possible time, because it has somewhere is going. And it's also important to really enforce physical planning of the city, because the city is expanding at a very, very high rate, and yet the infrastructure which is in place was really made for a smaller population. So we have to put in a lot of effort in enforcing physical planning, so that people don't encroach on the wetlands, people don't encroach on the drainage system. Some people are building and blocking the drainage system, which is really very, very unfortunate, and it's causing clogs and
picking
floods.
it from there, there's it all talk in town that whenever it rains, that's when landlords, building owners decide to release sewage out on these drainage channels. But even people drop plastics, caveras in the drainage system. Is there any plans to start punishing people who misbehave, that clog the drainage system, to bring about some of these issues?
The law is there. The law is there. It's only enforcement which has been lacking. Yes, I've also heard that indeed landlords normally release sewage in the drainage system when it rains, which is very, very unfortunate. But also, Kampala doesn't yet have a well-designed sewage system. I think it's only Kololo which has a well-designed sewage system. But the laws are there, and if you are caught doing that, there are penalties. But the problem in most of the cities has been politics. Law enforcement is normally affected by politics. There is even a law, if they find you throwing garbage anyhow, you are penalized. But sometimes the enforcement becomes very, very complicated because of politics. At one time I was suggesting probably mayors should not be elected, should just be appointed so that they don't succumb to pressure from the population. Most of the metropolitan cities in the world that have succeeded, some of the mayors are not elected, they are appointed so that they don't succumb to pressure from the population.
Away from the drainage system, like we said earlier, Kampala is almost a construction site. When do we expect to see these roads done?
I think these roads will be done as soon as possible because the money is there. The one thing is, these are loans and they already secured. The money is there. It's not local revenue that we shall wait for collection from URA or KCCA. So the money is there. The contractors have been a bit slow, probably because they are working while the city is also functioning. So there are disruptions here and there. But I think in the next 1 year they will have completed all these works. Most of them actually are even beyond their scheduled time. Okay. Yeah.
Earlier last month, we saw government trying to implement the decongestion of the city. We started off with the vendors. What is the plan going forward? I know borders are next in the queue. What is the plan going forward?
You know, this city is expanding very fast. And obviously when the city expands, even the activities in the city also expand. What KCCA must be doing is now to see how they can bring trade order, mainly in the central business district, because it was becoming over congested. And I think they will go on with that program. KCCA obviously is looking for alternative ways of managing the street vendors. And some of these mitigations they are put in place is relocating them to markets which are already existing, like Usafi and other markets. And we shall support them, and the government is going to support them. But I think they should also come up with other methods. There are some cities which have visited, they gazette days for some sort of market days. They can just say on a Sunday.
They had that plan previously. Yes. They were using Lumu Street.
Exactly. They gazette days, say on a Sunday. They just say market vendors come, and the customers get used that on Sunday streets will be closed, and the market vendors will be on the streets. So all those are methods they can use to give vendors an opportunity to interact with the customers. But as much as possible, the town has to have some order. And the borders, they will also be managed. But I think let them go process by process. The vendors first, relocate them to the market as they look for gazetted stages for borders. But I think they are moving in the right direction, and we pray that they can get more space where to relocate those vendors.
Honorable, probably in 2-3 years ahead, can you paint a picture for our viewers how Kampala will look like in terms of trade order, infrastructure, all the things if they are implemented?
First of all, Kampala is expanding very fast. You can imagine since 1986 how it was, and now it has transformed into a sprawl and very densely populated metropolitan. From 7 hills, I think now it is around 21 hills, with I think a day population of around 5 million people. So the town will continue expanding, and more people will come to town to do business, and therefore more challenges. That one we should also expect that more challenges. But I strongly believe if KCCA can put their foot down and ensure there is trade order, everybody will get where to work from, and everybody is going to make money. But the town is now expanding. You can see buildings coming up, shopping malls. You know, the town is changing. Probably 40 years ago, there were no shopping malls. Now there are shopping malls, and so many other things are coming up, skyscrapers. So you should expect the town to expand, and you should also expect business to grow, and you should also expect challenges, more challenges, urban challenges.
Honorable, talking about challenges, KCC has been grappling with issues of funding, trying to implement their programs. What is government's plan to ensure that there's efficient and effective funding for KCCA to ensure that all these programs are implemented?
Obviously, government is really trying very hard to ensure KCC gets funding for infrastructure. Yeah. But also KCCA is collecting money, it's collecting local revenue, which can assist them to work on, to provide a few services. But I think government will invest more money in both social and physical infrastructure, which KCCA cannot fund from local revenue. And that one, KCCA should be assured. Because even government has started funding other cities. You have seen USMID for other cities and municipalities.
Honorable, I want to cut you short, your parting shot before we...
My parting shot is let us collaborate with KCCA to ensure there is trade order. For any town to grow, there must be order. And we are going to learn from other cities how they are doing. The informal sector, for instance, in Kuala Lumpur is well organized, very well organized. Probably we don't need even to go for sophisticated markets. We need to go for simple markets. Those market vendors, sometimes they fear working from sophisticated markets, storage buildings. Let us borrow relief from other cities. You make a market as simple as possible, create space for them where to work from, but a very organized space. And I strongly believe everybody will get where to work from.
Thank you very much. That is Honorable Godfrey Kabianga, the State Minister for National Guidance. We've been talking about issues of KCCA and Kampala. Priscilla, I am back to you. I am Juma Kiria from here, the headquarters of Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
All right, thank you so much, Juma Kiria, for bringing us up to speed with what the position of government is as far as the continued oversight on the development and growth of Kampala as a city.